The forks are permanently installed now, and I'm going to go ahead and attach the handlebars. Got the lower half of the handlebar clamps painted black, and I actually wire brushed and polished the tops because I kind of like the look of that, the two-tone. These are 7/8 handlebars, and I ordered some grips for them that I thought would look pretty good on there. And they were said to fit 7/8 inch bars, but they are clearly for 1-inch bars. So that's a problem, but I came up with a solution. I figured if I could just make something to go slide over the bars that would be pretty much permanent to make up the difference of the slack of between the 1/8 inch difference between the 7/8 inch bars and the opening of the 1-inch grips, because I looked around for other grips I might like and I don't. And even though I told the seller that these were the wrong size, they didn't offer to replace them with the correct size because apparently they did not have them, so they just refunded my money. So I got my money back and grips that I couldn't use. But I decided to make, using my 3D printer, some adapters that could be slid on to the bars that were a really snug fit onto the handlebars, like really snug. It's like I'm not going to put those on all the way just yet because I'm not ready for it, but I can slide these on to the bars. And it's also a pretty snug fit for the grips as well. But before putting the adapters on there permanently, I will be smearing just a bit of glue on there just to keep them from ever really moving around. All right, I just got some cheap dollar store all-purpose adhesive here. Just basically like thick modeling glue. I'm just going to smear a little on here. Don't figure it takes much because it's such a tight fit, it's just going to squeeze most of it out, but the idea is hopefully it'll leave a slight film of it in between the adapter piece and the handlebars. Let's see which is the best side to go on here. All right. Just gonna keep pushing it on until I get a little bit of handlebar poking out the back. Just like so. Now let's wipe off the excess. Now I'll just stick the other side on and let those dry. So the brake master cylinder has been soaking overnight, and I took the lever off, and a whole piece of the master cylinder came off in my hands here. That is supposed to go right there. So that's unfortunate. So before going any further, I just went and did a quick search on the interwebs, and there is actually someone selling brand new master cylinders for the CB450 for $36 shipped. And considering that this is broken, and this is probably going to prove to be a bit of a pain to get out of there, I think I'm just going to replace it. Unboxing time. Got a brand new brake caliper with new pads. Shiny. All sorts of little parts for me to lose. First thing I'm going to do is get this old caliper off. If I can get this line loose. Jeez. My goodness gracious. Easier said than done. Well, actually, all these old lines are getting replaced, so I'll just find a spot over here. So all I really need to do is unhook it from this, and then just take the master cylinder off of the bracket. That's probably also easier said than done. Jeez Louise. Man, that was on there good. I'll put this back in so I don't lose it. So now I got to get this one off as well. I think these have been off in nearly 50 years. I'm gonna get this whole thing cleaned up and looking pretty. While getting all the little nooks and crannies using the Dremel tool. Wasn't even tied. Neither was this one. Did I loosen these while they were still on the bike? Don't know. Alright. Now, we can get this cleaned up, because it is nasty. Alright, I got the bracket all cleaned up. Didn't do any like polishing or anything like that on it, because this is actually painted and turned out pretty good. But now I need to address the static side of the caliper, because it will need to be cleaned up and repainted. Well, the original idea was to clean up the static part of the brake caliper and paint it black so it matches the front part of the caliper. But I put it on the wire wheel, and just for poops and ha-has, decided to give it a little polish. I think it would be a shame to paint that black. What do you think? I think that'd look pretty cool. I'm gonna go ahead and start getting all the brake lines and everything else just kind of roughed in, loosely hooked up. I'm just putting everything hand tight for right now. I let these parts dry overnight, so now it's time to actually get them on there. I'll start off by threading in the throttle cable. Now, I need the throttle itself. If I can just get these screws started in there, I will have won half the battle. Now I'm going to go ahead and put on the other grip, depending on how tight this feels. I may back it off a little bit and add a little glue just to keep it from twisting. Yeah, I think it's going to need a touch of glue. Hopefully that should set up and keep that from twisting. But I didn't put so much glue on there that I've ever needed to get it off that I couldn't break it loose. I didn't go crazy with it. Coming together. It's time to do at least a little bit of body work. I'm gonna get all these gouges filled in, get this thing sanded down and repaint it. I'm gonna go back black again. I've let the primer dry completely, which didn't take long considering it is currently 92 degrees inside my garage. So now I'm going to go over it and flatten it all out with some 500 grit sandpaper. And I'm going to do wet sanding. All right, I've got this all cleaned off, all the residue, and I got it sitting on top of this can so there's no edge touching anything, so I don't have to worry about it bridging or anything like that. And I'm actually going to hit the edge, bottom edge first. I'm going to give this more than one coat. Move you over here. I'm going to let that tack off for about 5 or 6 minutes, then come back and hit it again. All right, this is set a few minutes. It's time to hit it again. Actually, I might hit it one last time after that tacks off. Third and final coat. All right. I'm happy with that. I'm gonna let that dry for at least a day, maybe 2. I want it to be as hard as possible before I handle it, because the stuff dries quick, but it stays soft for at least a day or 2. Even with this heat, I want it to be fully cured out, and it will still take a while before I mess with it, but there's plenty of other stuff to do. All right, it's really starting to come together. Next, I'll just have to wait for my new brake master cylinder to come in and get that hooked up. I'll have all the wiring still to contend with, but it's definitely coming along. And I'm probably going to stop the video here because I'd say it's already about 9 million hours long. So next up will be putting on the brake master cylinder, getting into some of the wiring and starting to get that hooked up, and finally starting on the body work, getting the tank stripped down and fixed up and repainted. I still got to make my big purchase, which is new tires and wheels, which hopefully that can happen in the next video. And I think we're just a couple videos away from having this thing wrapped up and riding it. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you already haven't. Hit the notification bell so you'll know when the next part in the series comes out. And until next time, see ya.